Hello everybody, this is Stephanie from Tatra Viveka. Next to me is my colleague Alisa. And today we welcome a very special guest, Margot Anand. Margot is a psychologist, a speaker and author. And she, in the 1990s, she founded the Skydancing Tantra Institute, which is internationally known. And she also studied with well-known teachers like Osho and Swami Satchitananda, Oscar Ichazo. And today we will have a talk with her about sacred sexuality. Welcome, Margot.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, so in one of your books, which is called Tantra, the Art of Sexual Ecstasy, I read the quote, which says, "One of our greatest sources of pleasure and one of our greatest sources of disappointment is sexual intimacy." So how does it come that sexual intimacy is in the same time our biggest pleasure and our biggest disappointment?
Well, you have to go back to get this answer right. You have to go back to a person's first sexual experience. If their first sexual experience was in a culture that did not open the door to understanding the magic of sensuality and the importance of, honoring each other and going step by step, slowly, and all the arts of intimacy, if the people were not introduced to that, and if they had a bad sexual experience to begin with, they carry this, throughout their life, and it does an imprint. So then there are, ready-made roles that are there, like the woman should submit to the man, and the patriarchal culture says the man takes the initiative, and the man then ends up doing what he likes, and he's not sensitive to what she needs, and she doesn't dare to say what she needs. And so all of these many different psychological details are impacting, the moment of intimacy. And there's a wonderful saying by Osho that I really like. He says, when two lovers are together, it's not just the two of them, but it's his father and mother, and it's her father and mother, and it's his grandfather and grandmother, and her grandfather and grandmother. And of course, all the uncles and aunts are around there, and also the siblings, and they're all having a conversation above the head of the lovers saying, I think they should do it this way. Oh, this is terrible. I never was able to do that when I was a kid. And, all these kinds of opinions and how things should do it, and the how to and the should do and should not are there. And then there is also the influence of the churches. Now, the churches and the governments basically don't want people to be ecstatic. And it's never been as clear as it is now. We live in an anti-ecstatic society. Why? Because when a person becomes ecstatic, they have an awakening, and they have a taste of freedom, and they have a taste of what is their infinite potential to create whatever it is they want to create as a sovereign being, which is what we are. So then, they want, the people that have an ecstatic awakening, they want to create a life which is filled with joy, with opportunities to live your ecstasy. And that is something that churches and governments are trying to not facilitate at all. That is what I see. So basically, the whole question of, sexuality requires a certain degree of rebelliousness, a certain degree of liberation from all the taboos and all the impositions that parents and religions and governments are putting on, this moment, this opportunity to wake up. That's what I say. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yes. Well, let's go then to the other question. The next question is, we know that Tantra is like the main topic of your life. And would you say to us what means Tantra for you? How you define it?
Okay. Well, it's very simple. I have a very nice definition, which I actually apply to myself. And the definition goes like this: choose with awareness what brings you joy, and it will open the door to your spirit. And this is actually a definition which everybody and anybody can apply to their life at any moment. And so I can quickly tell you how it worked for me. I was disabled and I had a knee operation, and I was having difficulties after all that to do the rehab part, you know, where you have to exercise your body so your muscles get strong again. I had a very difficult moment with discipline, being the rebel that I am. So I realized that instead of exercising in the morning, I would grab a book, because I'm a book reader, I love books, and I would read in bed. That was my ultimate pleasure, but that was not good for my knees. So I thought, okay, well, what can I do? I'm not able to transcend this rebellious tendency. So I thought, well, I will apply my teachings to myself. So what can I do to choose with awareness what brings me joy, to open the door to my spirit and to my health? And I thought, well, I need to bring more bliss and more pleasure into the idea of doing morning exercises. But because I cannot do it myself, I will look for a coach or a trainer. So existence brought me just the right coach, because a friend called and said, how are you? And I told her, and she said, I have just the right person for you. He lives in Ubud. I live in Ubud in Bali. So I called him up, he showed up, and he was the perfect guy. And I worked with him 3 times a week for 6 months. I developed a completely new body. I developed a great pleasure for yogic practice and other fitness exercises. And it was fantastic, the results I got. I lost a lot of weight. It was like a new person, full of gratitude, you know, for having applied my own teachings to myself.
So it really works.
Yeah, very beautiful. So can you tell us a bit more about which role plays sexuality in Tantra?
Well, in the ancient tantric scriptures, they didn't talk about sexuality. It was maybe maximum 10% of the scriptures. They were all focused on awakening, on yoga, on improving yourself. But then, you know, came this movement, which some people call neo-tantra. And I have discussions with my Sangha and my directors about that, whether we are a part of this movement or not. But the point is that if you take away basic sexuality, which is the basic instinct of, you know, our libido, which is the procreation instinct, if you start to look into it a little more deeply, and you look at what exactly happens when there is an orgasm. Well, the orgasm happens when there is an intensification of excitement to the point where the mind drops away and the reflex, okay, takes over. So the orgasmic response is a reflex that comes when the totality of your being is engaged in a high level of excitement. And then there is a peak, and there is a surrender, and there is a relaxation. So now you look at what exactly happens in this process. What happens is that we have the possibility of having a very strong vital energy that gets excited, that gets moved. And if we take this vital energy and we learn how to open a central channel in the middle of our body, which I call the inner flute, but which is existing and called and mentioned in every culture. The Tibetans call it the red bamboo. The Taoists call it the central focus or the central channel. Anyway, so you take this energy, you learn how to channel this energy through chakra number 1, which is your sexual center in sky dancing tantra. Chakra number 2, which is your hara, your belly, your center of strength and emotional balance. Chakra number 3, which is your power, your action in the world. Chakra number 4, which is your self-acceptance and your love. Number 5, which is your ability to communicate and to be creative and to sing and to use your voice. Number 6, which is your intuitive perception. And number 7, your communication with all that is, your expansion beyond the boundaries of the body. So when you canalize this excitement, this beautiful energy through the chakras, it's like playing music. At the ground, first chakra, you have African drum, padam, padam, padam. You know, it's sex raw and it's good. Then as you move into the heart, then there is a kind of a heartgasm in which the partners melt and the partners feel that they are one with each other and they open their hearts to each other, etc. Then when you move it up and up, then you get to the 6th chakra. Your energy will expand beyond the boundaries of your body and you will feel spaciousness. And then when you move it to the crown chakra, you feel one with all that is. You feel that you are, you know, in a way floating in the universe, that you are in a mystical, ecstatic dimension. Okay, so this is actually the alchemy of transformation of sexual energy that sky dancing tantra, the path that I developed, is teaching to people. And so there is the orgasm of the body, which is, you know, yeah, an orgasm, if you want. And then there is the orgasm of the spirit, which is the ecstatic expansion. So the sexual, from the sexual orgasm to the transcendental ecstatic expansion, there is a pathway, there is a method, there is a way which I teach with great delight.
Thank you. And the next question would be, which are the 3 keys to ecstatic lovemaking?
Well, there are the 3 keys to what I call the 3 keys to orgasmic power. Okay, so the first one is what happens when you start to get excited. Think about it for a minute. I talk to my audience here. Okay, when you get excited, even when you go jogging or when you do any vital exercise, you start to go like this. Right? You start to have the tendency to breathe more through the mouth. Now, when this intensified breathing takes place, there is a movement that happens in your body which goes expansion, contraction. I inhale and I open. I exhale and I let go of the breath and my body gathers on itself. And that is the second key. And the third key is the voice. So when you're making love, when you're intimate, it's very nice to use your voice. When you do that, your partner knows that you're having a good time or not, depending on the voice.
When you're not having a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
Immediate
You know,
feedback.
Yes.
who's ever heard of someone, you know, having an orgasm, lying down quietly, very relaxed, you know, breathing through the nose and saying nothing? Like, it doesn't happen, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Hopefully it doesn't happen.
right. It happens, but you have to be already a little more, experienced in the tantric, channeling of energy. But So basically, if you apply deep breathing, okay, movement, basic life movement, pelvic back, pelvic forward, which is the movement of lovemaking and the movement of giving birth to children, always that same movement, taking in, giving out, or pushing out. And so you have the breath, which elicits the movement. And then after the movement, you have the voice, of course, the song of life, the song of love. So these are the three keys. And if you apply them, when you start to approach intimacy, to approach lovemaking, the advantage is that you get outside of your mind. You cannot apply these keys and start to get, messed up with your mind that says, oh, I should have done it yesterday because today I feel tired and, maybe I'm not good enough. And is this going to work? Or I don't really feel like it, or, whatever it is, right? The mind is very busy around sexuality, judging, comparing, desiring, not desiring. So, if you apply these three keys, it is your path to success.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. As our issue will be called sacred sexuality, I would like to ask you what makes sexuality sacred, and how can we bring spirit back into sexuality? And first of all, where did it go in the first place?
Where did the spirit go in the first place?
In sexuality.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. So, there is in my book, The Art of Sexual Ecstasy, Die Kunst, sexuellen Ekstase. Ja, wir können auch ein bisschen Deutsch sprechen und reden. Ich hab Deutsch sehr gern. Es ist eine schöne Sprache.
Sehr schön.
Und ich lehre auch in Deutschland in Deutsch. Das ist eine Gelegenheit, mein Deutsch zu verbessern. Und ich habe das unheimlich gern.
Oh, sehr schön.
Yeah. So for the people that basically, so I was saying, in The Art of Sexual Ecstasy, I have a quote somewhere, I don't have the book here, but that says, how does it go? The average time for sex for most people, according to statistical analysis, is around 5 minutes. Sometimes 6 or 7 minutes. From the time that the man begins to the time he, in a way, lets go of his seed, to be elegant, it doesn't take very long. Now, the problem is that, he has a meridian, an acupuncture meridian that connects his heart to the tip of his penis. So his penis wants to go in the garden, in the sacred garden, as soon as possible, because that's where he is happy and comfortable. Now, the woman, however, she is wired differently, okay? Her meridian is here in the chest and doesn't go all the way to her sex. So she needs more time. So the timing for the man tends to be quicker than for the woman. And so, if the man is not trained in the tantric arts, if he doesn't care enough for this woman, if he goes and follows, his tendencies, before he really pays attention to what hers are, or if he doesn't understand her, if he doesn't know how to hold back his letting go of his seed, then, there is a problem. And there is people pretending to have an orgasm, pretending to have a good time, but not really having a good time. And that creates a lot of problems, for the lovers. So basically, the way I approach this question in my trainings, so that everybody can get it and everybody can understand, is very simple. You create a sacred space with each other. Creating a sacred space means you send the children to grandmother, you create an open space in the house where you will not be disturbed, you cut down the phone, leave the phone in another room, shut it down, shut down the fax machine, shut down the computers, shut down all the microwaves that are disturbing the frequency vibrations that you are going to share with each other. Very important. Put all that technology out. Then you are facing each other, and you start with what I call a heart salutation, where you basically bend forward and you say, you put your hands on your heart, you bend forward and you say, you know, you touch your third eye with the third eye of your partner, and you feel like your spirits are joining, and you feel inside yourself, I honor you as an aspect of myself. So you and I are not different. So you are also saying by this gesture that you make a commitment to be 100% present to that other, that you are going to be fully attentive to what is happening. And now you each have half an hour or an hour to put in the sacred space what you need. So maybe before making love, you have a tension in your neck, in your shoulders. You would need your partner to give you a short massage. Or maybe your partner would say, take your hands and from the heart say, look, yesterday this happened and I didn't mention anything and I felt like I was getting upset. So I would like in the future that when these things happen, we handle it this way, or we tell each other right away, or we, you know, offering a difficulty and offering a solution, but always talking in the I, so that I take responsibility for what's happening to me, and absolutely avoiding the, you did this to me, because this is an illusion. Nobody does anything to you. This is basically someone doing something and you receiving it, giving it an interpretation, which is based on your past wounds and on your own interpretation. And, you know, then it doesn't work anymore, you know? So if you take responsibility and you say, when this happened, I felt this or that, and I would like to, etc. And then the other says, okay, but how about if I blah, 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 you know? So it's something quite current described in nonviolent communication, which I recommend every couple should study. So that's what I can answer.
And okay, the next question will be, how can sexuality contribute to the healing of the world?
Well, if I say that if all politicians and leaders had a good sex life, we would have a much better world, okay? Unfortunately, a lot of them, I mean, the last that I heard about this topic was that John F. Kennedy, that everybody absolutely loved, and who was a great president, unfortunately, he was assassinated because he was a great president. John F. Kennedy needed to make love 2 or 3 times a day. Good for him.
Yes.
Because when you think of all the pressures of being in the position of being the president, making love a lot is kind of discharging all the extra pressure, bringing love into your life and making you a better person. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, there might be a little bit of addiction in there, but I'm not going to judge all that. Yeah. So another incident or another story I can tell you about this question. The people who were the directors of the Kennedy School for Political Leadership came to my Love and Ecstasy training in America. Then they went home, the husband and the wife, and they said, wow, you know, this has had such an impact, learning how to channel our sexual energy through our chakras, through our energy center has been such a phenomenal experience. we should bring that in the school of the Kennedy School for Political Leadership. So they called me up. I came to Boston. I had a look at the situation, and here's what they told me. They said, when a leader becomes popular and he goes, as they call it, on the balcony, facing the crowds, and the crowds are all going, yeah, yeah, and applauding. It's not happening very much these days, but it used to happen.
In the past days.
So the crowds go, yeah. Now it's more demonstrations and protests.
Yes.
But when the crowds were going, yes, 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 and approving them, and they were having, you know, the headlights, and they were on center stage, and all of these wonderful magnetic energies were coming to them, they left the balcony charged with a lot of orgasmic energy, of excitement, of percolating, of, you know, energy moving through their bodies. And there was the Monica Lewinsky of the day, but all the other, you know, assistants who were there and who wanted to benefit, to be under the wing of this wonderful, adored leader. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, the person didn't have any know-how as to what to do with their energy. So they ended up having a sexual affair with that person, and they ended up losing their career, because when you do that in America, you are impeached, or you are, you know, you are not popular anymore, because the Americans are very, what's the word? You know,
conservative, like with moral.
Yeah, there's a word for that. Well, right now it doesn't come. So they are very judgmental about, you know, not following the rules, and, you know, so, you know, they wanted me to teach the channeling of this energy through the chakras. So I had to look at the situation, the classroom, the desks, the blackboard, and I said, look, sorry, but I cannot teach my work in this kind of classroom atmosphere. People have to have a direct experience. So I'm not going to come to Boston. If it were today, I would probably handle it differently. But basically, if sex was put back on the right track, and if all the secrets that we know about in Skydancing Tantra, that creates a crowd of people that are loving, that are happy, that are honoring of each other, that are treating each other with dignity, whether they're Buddhists or Christians, whether they're red, green, or blue, whether they come from this religion or that religion. In my Sangha of thousands of people, people have understood how to honor each other and how to create happiness for each other. So I think basically that everybody should come and take my training, the Skydancing Tantra Love and Ecstasy training. And if they did, we would have a much better world.
Is there a question? Well, very beautiful set, I would say. And with this, we would also slowly come to the end of the interview.
Right. Very good. Very good.
Thank you very much, Margot.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And I want to advise our viewers to go to the website Skydancing Tantra DE für Deutschland. Also wir haben da in Deutschland ein Institut und ein wundervolle Leadership und die haben tolle Skydancing-Programme. Und ja, gehen Sie dort und schnuppern Sie einmal, wie es geht mit Skydancing Tantra. Okay.
Maybe we will see each other in Berlin, because we have also our office in Berlin, and I already told Stephanie, and she got the email that you will be in Berlin like end of September, I think. Are there still free spots?
Yes, but you should hurry to enroll, and I will send you the email, because it's getting already quite full, and you know, yeah, so I'm gonna stop accepting people after a while, and we have a bit of a disagreement, because my organizer, who's a wonderful man, he's a certified Skydancing Tantra teacher, And by the way, did you know that to become a certified sky dancing Tantra teacher, you have to give 4 to 6 years of your life practicing and learning in the seminars 3 weeks a year. So, you know, the people that are certified sky dancing Tantra teachers are the real deal. They really have dedicated themselves to the study of Tantra and the understanding of sky dancing Tantra. So anyway, the man who's organizing, his name is Prem Gopal Tito. He wants to, you know, say yes to all the people who want to come. And I say, no, we have to stop it because we have to apply the sanitary considerations and, you know, so on, which we intend to do. So anyway, you can enroll, but hurry up.
Okay, thank you for that.
You will get a press discount with my advice.
That would be great.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Namaste.
you.
Have a great time.
Namaste. Have a great time. Bye.
Bye.